Hey everybody, it's Wednesday night. I'm Josh, this is Alex, and welcome to Game Winning Drive.
Superstar nightlife, gold pockets on smoke. It's all about the cash flow. So come on and get this money, man. Getting paper, and we always do it major on the stroll. You know it.
Welcome to Game Winning Drive. And no, I am not Drew, your normal co-host. I'm Josh DeBoard from the Boardroom, RSH from the Buzz. You probably catch me every other night of the week on here. Drew, feeling a little under the weather, asked me to come on, and I was glad to hang out with my dude, Alex. It's been a while, man. How are you doing?
Doing good, brother, man. I'm excited to have you, man. It's nice to not see Drew's ugly face. I say that in all joking, man. I miss him. That's my homeboy, man. I talked to him before the show just to make sure he's doing all right and tell, wish him well and stuff. So, man, everything's good, man. Family's great. We're surviving the COVID. We got sent home early from work today. We got like 4 inches in 2 hours of snow, so we're dealing with a little bit of a snowstorm here in Maryland, but it's raining right now, so it's starting to melt. So no chance of getting another day off work. Dang it.
Yeah, so I woke up to snow, and I'm a big snow guy, and I'm like, I want like 12 to 14. Like, I don't care. I'm all about the snow. Got about one. Now it's all rainy and gone. But yeah, dude, glad to be here. Glad to talk some more football. But before we get to business, before we get to that, we got biz to take care of. So Manscaped, you'll see me and Alex rocking the shirts. Still got 20% off. Promo code GWD 2020. Need to use mine on my face because I'm starting to look kind of rough. Got to look nice, respectable for the family for the holidays. Alex, how you liking your Manscaped stuff, dude? Because I need to use mine more, but it does so well that I don't need to shave for like a month.
Yeah, man. I mean, as soon as I got it, I told the story like I didn't know we were getting them, so like I was surprised, trying to figure out who sent it to me, whatever. And then once I opened it up, man, I was like, man, this is nice. Even if it's an accident, I'm not sending it back. I'm keeping this crap, right? So yeah, man, it's good, and it really works. It does the job. Like I always say, and put the caveat out there: once you go to the basement, don't bring it to the face or the head. It's just not a good look for you, right? So if you're going to use it in one area, use it in that area only, right? So
My buddy Chuck Winchester off RSH, because I'm pretty sure that's what he does. Don't be that guy. He
yeah,
claims he doesn't, but don't be that guy. He's not, even with the 20% off, he's too cheap to buy another razor. But I digress. This is our promo video from our boys over at Manscaped. Check this out, then we will get rolling. All right, dude. Manscaped.com, promo code GWD2020. It'll be scrolling across the bottom of the screen during this whole episode. So, Alex, it's funny. First question, when Drew asked me to come on, I was like, man, I'm curious how Alex feels about this. So we will lead with this. The Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens played, I'll give my opinion right off the bat. It was the best game this year that I've seen so far. 47-42. Granted, that last 2 points was just on a lateral that, you guys are trying to make something happen. What was your thoughts, man? How you feeling? It's a game I expected you guys to win, but Baltimore's season's on the line each week now.
Yeah, listen, if our secondary was not decimated, I think we win that game easily, right? Having 3 key starters out is really rough. You know what I mean? And relying on Sendejo, who can't make a tackle to save his life. I mean, if you saw on that goal line 2-point, he speared J.K. Dobbins and it just bounced right off him like a rag doll and fell to the ground, and J.K. Dobbins pranced into the end zone, right? So, listen, yeah, I mean, I think it was the game of the year for sure. As a Browns fan, it crushed my soul. I mean, me and Drew have been talking about this, and a good buddy of mine, Chris, he's a Bills fan, my buddy Chris. So like, we're excited to have both of our teams really be relevant this year. But I told him, I said, this is the game of the year for the Browns as far as how we look in the game. So I wasn't confident. I picked them. I wasn't confident going in that we were going to win. For some reason, when we're good, we lose to the Ravens and the Steelers twice in a year. When we're terrible, that's like one of our 2 wins is probably one we split with them somehow, right? So going into the game, I was a little nervous. I was impressed by Baker the first half of the Tennessee game, so it gave me some hope. But then I felt like he fell off in the second half. In this game, it was the exact opposite. I felt like, right? He made some mistakes in the first half. He was sluggish, right? But he really was slinging the rock in the second half, right? I was impressed by him. He impresses me more and more. It's well documented. If you go back to the draft show when we did the live draft show, right? I wanted Josh Allen in Cleveland, right? I was against everybody else. Everybody, oh no, Baker and Darnold, and everybody's going to be, and everybody had Rosen and all these guys above him. I thought Allen had the real stuff. He just didn't have enough film against good competition, right? So that's why he went where he went, right? Yeah, man, I'm excited as a Browns fan, but I also told my friends, if we lose this game in an embarrassing fashion, we could lose the rest of our games in the season, right? Now, watching that and the way it turned out, I think it's going to make us more hungry, and I think we have a solid chance of going 3-0 for the rest of the season and spoiling the Steelers season as far as the number 1 seed, right? So I'm excited, and I totally agree this is the game of the year for sure. That was long-winded to get to that.
Yeah, I mean, easily game of the year. Looking at your schedule, at the Giants is kind of a trap game. The Giants play really good defense, and Danny Dimes is like, one week he looks like he should be back in college, and the next week he lights it up with his legs and through the air because he has that ability. Then Wayne Gallman's been running the ball really well. Evan Ingram's kind of dropped off the earth again, but we're doing a real good job of getting him integrated early. Then you got the Jets. I mean, that's a win. Then Pittsburgh to end the season. That could be for the division, the way Pittsburgh's playing, because Pittsburgh's playing like they've been playing like crap for about a month and a half. They've just been playing in fear competition. Dallas, Baltimore, and half their team has COVID, squeaking out wins against Garrett Gilbert and Trace McSorley / RG3. But I'm with you. Game of the year. I think your Browns will be fine. Baker looks good. You're running the hell out of the ball. Both your running backs look good. Your key for success to me, keep pounding the ball with both those guys. Live off play action. Look at the receivers you guys are getting involved. No OBJ opened it up for Higgins. Hell, my boy from Michigan, Donovan Peoples-Jones, is catching passes in the NFL. He's playing relevant snaps, too. Landry's back. Njoku's even catching passes. Hunt's catching passes out of the backfield. Baker's spreading the ball out. He's not forced. He doesn't feel the pressure to force feed one guy, which I think OBJ is going to be a trade chip you guys ship off after this year. Pick up another pick. I don't know his cap hit, but I think you guys are way better off without him.
I'd love for us to
way more balanced.
I'd love for us to trade for another corner. I think if we matched another legit stud corner with Ward.
People think this is nuts. I think New England should trade you guys straight up for Gilmore.
I mean, I'd take it in a heartbeat. I mean, it's a win-win for both, right?
Yeah, because we have J.C. Jackson ready for a big contract, and we need to drop that $14.5 million cap hit of Gilmore.
We got plenty of cap room, too.
Yeah,
especially offloading OBJ. We would have even more.
$80 million going into next year. So I think that's a trade that would benefit both. You wouldn't have to use draft capital either. If you did, it'd be late round conditional kind of draft capital.
Right.
But we'll see. So this was the topic of the show. So the question of the day, Alex, MVP race is heating up. It looks like it's a there's 2 guys, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers. If there's anybody else, you let me know. But these are the only 2 guys that I see. Rodgers is currently at 3,685 yards and 39 touchdowns, roughly 70% completion. Mahomes at 4,200, 33 touchdowns, 5 picks, and 69% completion. So statistically very close up. Rodgers
Yeah,
has
it's a wash.
touchdowns. Who's your front runner right now?
So, who do I think should win, or who do I think the front runner is? Because the league's in love with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
So, I think he's the front runner, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think Aaron Rodgers is back to being that bad man that he is, and he should win the MVP this year. He's doing more with less, right? Now I understand Devontae Adams and Travis Kelce are basically a wash, right? But I think Jones is a better running back than Edwards-Helaire, right? And the committee, I think Jones and Williams are a better committee than what they have in Kansas City.
Yeah. Le'Veon
Now,
is very disappointing.
Very disappointing. But that's what happens when you go to a losing culture from a winning culture, and then you just sit there collecting a paycheck. Because that's essentially what he was doing with the Jets, is just, I'm going to hang out until eventually I can get out of here. I got my big contract that I wanted. I had to play for the worst team in the league, right? But I got my money. So he was just biding his time, and maybe some of that work ethic is gone. I think Rodgers does more with less. But I think Patrick Mahomes ultimately will win the Super Bowl. I think ultimately the Chiefs are going to be the number one seed again, and they're probably not going to lose a game. And he's probably going to catch up to him or pass him in stats because they got a couple cupcakes coming up to end the season where he's going to be able to pad his stats. So, yeah, I think Patrick Mahomes wins it. But if I had a vote, I would vote for Aaron Rodgers. And that's hard for me to say. You know how I felt about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, the thing for Mahomes is his schedule was tougher this year. I mean,
Right.
He did have Baltimore when Baltimore's defense is actually playing well. They played New England, which New England's defense always they control Patrick Mahomes a little bit. He doesn't throw for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns against Belichick. He throws for a very quiet 320 and 2 touchdowns typically. Then they had Buffalo, Tampa Bay. They play New Orleans this week. I mean, they haven't had the easiest schedule. Hell, Carolina took them down to the wire, 33.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City's a stronger team this year than they were when they won
Right.
last year.
The Raiders beat them, and they took them to the wire the second game.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it was only a touchdown.
Well, the Dolphins as well. I mean, you're asking me if there's who do I think in the AFC can beat them. I think if they seen the Dolphins again, the Dolphins could, because the Dolphins came pretty damn close the first time. Tua looked really good, really good last week.
Yep.
But I think it's Aaron Rodgers. I do agree with you 1,000%, which is kind of why I can't stand Mahomes, which I guess isn't his fault. But the NFL loves this guy so much. Like, if he's not on my TV and they're talking about him for the whole pre-show and post-show and during I feel like Tony Romo purposely gets to Chiefs games every week just to talk about how great Patrick Mahomes is, because that's all you hear the whole game. I was watching New England play Buffalo, and he spent about 20 minutes of that game talking about Patrick Mahomes. He's not even on the field. Like, he's not relevant to this game at all. Why are you talking about him? So I get sick of hearing about the guy. But I do not like Aaron Rodgers either. He's always been a diva. He's just a little drama queen. I'm sick of hearing about him and his little girlfriends in the media. Nobody cares who he's dating, who they're dating, whatever. But you talk about weapons. Running back, I give him the slight edge. Tight end, it's Kelce. Receiving core, Tyreek. How good does Tyreek Hill make this guy look? Screen passes, 90-yard touchdown reception. I mean, he can screen the ball to Edwards-Helaire, 30-yard chunks. Rodgers' second best receiver is Scouting at this point, right?
Yeah, Valdez-Scantling. Yeah.
And then Tanyan just really got involved, and Rodgers seems to like him. Me and Drew talk on Blitz all the time. He looks like the next – he hasn't had a good tight end since who was
Finley.
it?
Michael Finley. Yep.
Yeah, like Bakley says, both QBs have got their top receivers involved. And, yeah, so he force feeds it to Adams, because you see what happens when Adams gets that bracket coverage and it actually works. He looks ridiculous like he did when they got blown out by Tampa this year. Tampa put a safety over the top. They put Davis with Winfield Jr. over the top. Adams didn't do nothing. They got blown out. Rodgers looked lost. But I give Rodgers the nod. But unfortunately, I agree with you. Mahomes, as of now, will get it. But if he has another terrible – he played like crap against Miami. He threw 3 interceptions. 2 of them, I don't know where he was planning to throw the ball.
Yep.
That screen pass that he threw right to the defensive lineman, I was like, oh, my God, he does make mistakes. But I feel like it's like Herbert and Burrow. for offensive rookie of the year up until Burrow got hurt. If Mahomes has a good week 17 and Rodgers has a below average one, then that probably bumps him a little bit. I feel like it changes throughout each
week to week.
Yeah. So right now I give Rodgers actually he played a much better game last week, so he gets the slight edge.
Right.
Now, if Mahomes comes out and lights up the Saints this week, that's a huge game. It's probably one of the biggest games of the year because it's a potential Super Bowl preview.
Yeah, I think what the thing is that Mahomes is breaking so many records at such a rapid pace. I got to be honest with you, he's probably the best quarterback I've ever seen play the game, right? So when he's all said and done, if he only has 4 Super Bowls, I still think we're going to be talking about him as the GOAT, right? So he's that good. He just has to stay away from the injury bug. He has to stay with Andy Reid. They got to keep restocking that cupboard because they got a lot of weapons. And I don't know if he'd be killing these kind of numbers if he didn't have, Hardeman and Watkins as his 3rd and 4th option. I mean, a lot of those guys would be number 2 options on almost every other team in the NFL.
Do you think he'd be this good if he got picked by the Bears?
No, because he wouldn't have Andy Reid.
See, that's the difference when you say GOAT, because I feel like if Tom Brady went to the Bears, they'd be in the NFC Championship game.
No chance. Listen, you know how I feel. I think Tom Brady had more to do with the winning culture in New England than Belichick did, right? But it has everything to do with your coach, I feel like, for successful quarterbacks.
No, you're right. And Bruce Arians has been a joke with Brady, which we'll get into that later. But Reid, one thing people forget, Alex Smith was 11-5 in Kansas City before. Granted, Mahomes got them over the hump, but they weren't losing. They weren't a joke franchise. And as my dad always said,
were very competitive.
My dad always says, though, they haven't won a Super Bowl since 19 whatever, and this guy did it. Valid. And he's played phenomenal. There's nothing I can take away from him. But hell, even in the Super Bowl he won, he didn't play particularly well until the very end, which that's typically when it matters. I thought Damian Williams should have got MVP. I think James White should have got MVP when Brady got it a few years ago. I think Sonny Michel should have got it when they beat the Rams the latest Super Bowl. But the quarterback, like you said, always is going to get the benefit of a doubt. When the team's good, they get all the credit. When they suck, they get all the blame.
Well, I think what sealed it for him in the Super Bowl was that 45-yard scramble. That you thought for sure he was sacked down behind the line. Their chances were, done. And he somehow broke loose. And we know he's not flight of foot. He runs like a 4.8, 4.7, somewhere in there. So he's not fast. But he made guys miss. He was just elusive. And that was such a pivotal play that it pretty much sealed the game for them. And I think that's what won it for him, right? I think up until that point, you couldn't make an argument. It had to be Williams. But that was such a crucial play. I think that's what, quarterback gets the credit there.
Chuck, my dude from RSH, that doesn't look like Drew. No, Chuck, it is not Drew. I'm glad he noticed. We said that already. Here we go. Having Tanyan has allowed Adams to receive less coverage over the top from cornerbacks covering him. It's absolutely correct. They just need somebody else to take that pressure off Adams. Mahomes has the top tight end, top 3 wide receivers. Bakley gives it to Rodgers. How do you game plan when these two create matchup issues all over? No, it's fair. Tyreek Hill scares the living hell out of me. If I was opposing, he scares the shit out of Belichick. I just don't know how Jonathan Jones always seems to keep him in check when he plays New England. Because everybody else, you watch the Tampa game, what do you have almost 200 yards receiving at halftime? Tampa, I'm yelling at the TV, bracket him. Put 3 guys on him. Make somebody else beat you because he's beating you on screens. He just ran a deep streak. Hits him in stride. Touchdown. Not even close. I'm with you. I got Rodgers right now, but at the end of the year, it'll be Patty Mahomes holding up that MVP trophy, which hopefully that means he won't be holding up the Super Bowl trophy because that curse. If you win the regular season MVP, you don't always win that other one. So Drew's boy, Phillip Rivers, looks like he's getting it together over the last few weeks. T.Y. Hilton he's alive. As soon as I cut him off my fantasy team, I traded him to our boy Archie. Now he's delivering. Go figure. But how great is he playing right now? And do you think if he can keep this up, the Colts can make can be that sleeper in the AFC.
Yeah, I really do. That running game is, it's kind of like the same formula the Browns have, right? Limit him and his passing attempts to limit the mistakes, right? The biggest issue Philip Rivers had in his entire career is the same thing that Peyton Manning did, but people don't ever talk about it because Peyton Manning won Super Bowls, right? Is critical interceptions at critical pivotal times. I mean, Peyton Manning would probably have 4 or 5 Super Bowl rings if he didn't have 2 interceptions in almost every game he got eliminated from the playoffs because he had to force the ball, right? So luckily for Philip, he's got a great rushing attack here, right? Finally, Jonathan Taylor is coming on strong, right? I think it's funny. Taylor and Akers, the guys we thought were going to be monsters, and Edwards-Helaire, but Taylor and Akers specifically are coming on super strong when normally rookies tail off at the end of the season because they're not used to this many games, this much wear and tear. But these guys look like they're getting stronger and better, or maybe their coaches have figured out how to utilize them properly. Either way, they look like we thought they were going to look in the beginning of the year, now at the end, which is great for their franchise, right? Yeah, I mean, I think that Philip Rivers is playing well enough. I thought this was his last year in the NFL. Honestly, I thought he was done. But he's playing well enough. He might get another. They might give him another year in Indy. If they, because they're going to be in the playoffs, so they're not going to have a high draft pick. So odds of getting a quarterback, unless they go after Dak or they trade for Carson Wentz, which I think is really what's going to happen. But if they don't, then they're going to probably bring Philip back for another year, and they might take another run at it. I think the Colts make it to the second round. I don't know if they make it past the second round, but that defense is good enough, and their running game is good enough, and Philip is making enough plays for them to do it. I think they could make a deep run depending on who they pull, second round. Because I think they win first round. I really do. I think they're good enough that whoever they're matched up with, you know what I mean? I think they're going to win the division at the end of the day. And so, you know what I mean? They're going to get a lower seed to play. I think they win.
So they would, if they win the division, they would play your Browns. If they were to be the wild card, they'd be technically behind your Browns, and they'd play Buffalo. So as of right now.
So that's how critical it is for them to win the division. And we all know what normally happens in the rematch. The other team wins, right? Because they got that bad taste in their mouth.
It's hard to beat a team twice.
A good team,
3 times. Yep. It's almost impossible.
Yep.
I don't think it depends. For me, he's playing great. It's what I've been waiting for. There's been games I've watched. There's that game a few weeks ago where he had that safety in a critical time. And I was like, where do you know better than to do that? Like, how many years have you played now? And he's going to go down as like our Dan Marino.
Right.
Like he's so damn good, but he never won a Super Bowl. He never even got the one. He's so talented. Like you talk about Peyton every year. Who took Peyton out early? The damn Chargers of Philip Rivers, Darren Sproles, LT. Somebody always took the Colts out when they were supposed to be that team. Every year we expected Brady, Manning, AFC Championship game. They always had they always were 1 and 2. They always got the bye week, but something always happened. That damn Rivers kid always came out, lit them up, and took them out.
Yep.
I would love to see them in Kansas City in the AFC Championship game because I feel with Taylor and Hines, they could run the ball, control the clock. He has weapons everywhere. Hilton, Drew's boy, Michael Pittman, who he was absolutely right on. The dude's going to be a stud.
Pascal as well is underrated.
Yes. Yeah, Pascal. I didn't realize how big he was. And he's like 24 years old. And he's under contract for a couple. They actually locked him up early, which I didn't even know. So they have their top 3 guys locked up. You have Cox at tight end, which Rivers really likes him. So I wasn't familiar with him until this year, but Rivers knows how to find his playmakers.
Yep.
Jonathan Taylor, him splitting the carries with Hines, I think, really helped his durability because coming into this year, we talked about he carried the ball, feels like 300 to 400 times a year at Wisconsin. So that wear and tear normally breaks you down, which I'm still surprised AP's still rolling this old because he carried the ball just as much at Oklahoma, just as much at the beginning of his career, and now that's why AP is going to be one of the top 5 running backs, in my opinion, of all time.
Yeah, for sure. I don't even think that's an argument.
But the dude's just a workhorse. Now he's almost 40, still doing it. But I'd love to see it. He's playing great. I hope he keeps it up. But we got a good segue. So to the guy that he technically replaced, who could be coming back this week, Drew Brees. He's practicing. Sean Payton said he's 50-50 for this week. Huge game. This is my Super Bowl prediction before the season. Then you guys had me on midway during the season, and I stuck with it. New Orleans, Kansas City, and I have New Orleans winning and Drew Brees riding off to the sunset. With that being said, do you think it is too soon for Drew Brees to return?
Yeah, I mean, I said last week I thought for sure that they were going to lose this week, and they did, right? And in horrific fashion, right? I mean, it was not pretty. Yeah, I think it's probably too soon, and the reason why is they're not Super Bowl contenders without Drew Brees. So even if he's only 70%, you wait one more week. I understand you got to get him some reps and get him in there and get him back in game, rhythm and shape and everything like that. But you can't chance your season because this is his last hurrah. I do not think for a second he comes back next year. So this is it. This is his last, this is, 5 seconds left, half court shot. So I just don't think that you take the chance and you bring him back too early. So if he's 50-50, I'm keeping him out just for my sanity.
And I'm looking at the standings because I'm like, why would they rush? Well, where they're at, they just lost the 1 seed, right? Mm-hmm. The Rams, who are creeping on that 3, they play the Jets. So the Rams are winning this week no matter what happens. Mm-hmm. Then they play Seattle and Arizona. So those are 2 tough games for the Rams. If he's ready, I feel like Sean Payton's BSing though. I don't think he's not going to come out and be like, oh man, he's banged up. We don't know. He's going to be like, we'll see, 50-50. We ain't going to tell you, Kansas City, who to plan for, which I feel like no matter what, you're going to see both. You're going to see Taysom. You're going to see Drew Brees if Drew Brees is active. Do they rush him back? If he's 70%, no. If he's ready to roll, you have to put him out there. You see the difference. Everybody, including my little sister Yvonne, she's a huge Saints fan. She's like, we're 3-0 without him. You beat Atlanta, who's been looking forward to 2021 since like week 6. Then you beat them twice in 3 weeks, and you beat a Denver team whose quarterback was a receiver off the practice squad. Mm-hmm. And that's why they blew him out. He was 1 of 12 with 2 interceptions for, I think, 12 yards or something.
Yeah.
So that's why you went 3-0. Yes, I know Teddy Bridgewater did well last year. Teddy Bridgewater played really well too. Taysom Hill has not looked like he's that guy. Mm-hmm. He looks like he's a gadget quarterback, and he can throw sometimes. And to me, it seems like Sean Payton's trying to. This guy's making $8-9 million a year. Let's get hopefully we'll replace Brees with this guy, save $20 million, and then we'll just build around him and he'll be great. Well, that might work, but Taysom Hill has not shown me anything to prove that will. If he comes out this week and lights up Kansas City, who actually has a pretty underrated defense this year, they're top 10 in offense and defense, then maybe the jury's out too soon. After Cam's 3rd game in New England, I wanted him to get a new contract. So 3 games is not enough. 3 games is definitely not enough to judge. If he's not 100%, I don't bring him back. There's no reason to. With the playoffs being so weird, home field advantage does not. If you're not going to get that 1 seed, I don't think that there's a point in pushing a player, because the difference between a 2 and a 4 seed really isn't that big of a deal. And if the Saints end up they're not going to lose the division because Tampa Bay's still 3 games behind, I think, and they own the head-to-head. So I think if the next game they win, they're winning the division. So unless they lose out, they're winning the division still. They'll end up playing, honestly, probably Tampa Bay again, which will be interesting. But I wouldn't bring him back. Not this soon. If he's not 100%, there's no reason to. But I agree 100% with you. The Saints aren't winning any playoff games if Drew Brees ain't playing quarterback.
Yeah, listen, if they don't bring him back, right, they could lose until week 17 against the Panthers. They got a pretty tough schedule to finish out.
It doesn't let up. Who's their kryptonite, Alex? Who's took them out of the playoffs? The damn Minnesota Vikings. So Christmas Day,
Oh, I know.
the Minnesota Vikings at Minnesota.
I looked right ahead to that game, and I was like, the Vikings are probably going to win this game.
Yeah, I agree. It's a Dalvin Cook eats in these games. Kirk Cousins looks. It's Christmas. I'll be with my family, and Yvonne's going to be throwing stuff. It's going to be great. But the schedule doesn't ease up. Plus, they got Carolina, I think, week 17, and Carolina has nothing to lose. Those teams nothing to lose. Carolina's sole purpose is going to be to try to knock the Saints off to hurt their playoff hopes. So I agree with you, man. They do not need to rush him back if he's not ready to go. But so that was first down that was first down. Before we go to second down, buy or sell. So as you guys know now, we are part of the Buzz. New social media, same personalities, different platform, new social media. So check out this promo by our boy Archie. This is all the platforms you can find us on with the Buzz.
Get the Lambo car, house in the hills with the stars. Told you I'd raise the bar, told you that I'd go far. Baby, it's crystal clear. I'm not a souvenir. I'm not an accessory. I'm a necessity. So come and check me out now. I'm a necessity. So come and check me out now.
All right. The Buzz, you can follow the ats right by my name, at WTB. Go to our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We got TikTok, whatever the hell that is, in the making too. We're everywhere. We got to get with it, Alex, dude. Even though we're old, we have to get with this new TikTok kind of stuff.
I guess, man.
We got to get the world buzzing. So we got buy or sell. All right, Alex, this is interesting. This is my boy, even though he's cheating on me for 1 year. Tom Brady, do you think that he will be back for 2021?
100%. He needs, in his soul, he needs one more Super Bowl to slam it in Bill's face. Like, how could you let me go? What were you thinking? Right? And that team is good enough. They just can't seem to get it exactly together. But we talk about Kansas City. They got a lot of weapons in Tampa Bay. I just don't understand. Their defense has got some stars too and underrated, and they should be playing better. And they're, they looked really good last year to finish out the season. That defense looked like world beaters. And then this year I thought, okay, adding Tom Brady without blind Jameis Winston, they're gonna crush the league. I picked them to win the division. And then, of course, it's the Saints as usual. So, I think he comes back for one more year, but I think that's it.
Who do you think he's playing for next year?
I think he stays in Tampa.
All right, you ready for this? I don't know if you've heard my scenario yet. I think he's also playing next year, but I don't think it's for Tampa. I think it's going to come down to something doesn't feel right in Tampa Bay. And I think it's Bruce Arians. You can't bring in a 42, 43-year-old Tom Brady and expect him to throw the ball 50-plus times. He wants to run the same offense that he ran with Jameis Winston. Difference is Jameis Winston's 24, 25, 26 years old. I don't know what exactly he is. Somewhere in the mid-20s. Jameis Winston has the arm and the youth to throw the ball that much. Tom Brady, they're running the same offense that they ran with Jameis Winston with Tom Brady. It doesn't work. You see his workload in New England. Sony Michel, James White, Rex Burkhead, Sony Michel, play action, Edelman, play action, whoever. He was throwing the ball 20 to 30 times last year, and you notice when he's throwing 30 to 40, New England was getting beat. That system doesn't work with Bruce. So I think it's going to come down to, so Brady has the contract option for next year. He can go or stay. It's all on Brady. Gronk, he has a 1-year contract. So if Brady goes, Gronk's he's either going to retire or go with him. I think it's going to come down to all these Bruce Arians calling Tom Brady out and all these news conferences here. Tom doesn't like that. That's why he wanted to get out of New England, because Bill wasn't kissing his ass toward the end of that tenure. He feels like he should have got more respect for what he feels like he brought to New England, which for me it's 50-50, but that's not the question. I think it comes down to he goes to whoever the owner is. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. I want Bruce out, and I want Byron Leftwich or Josh McDaniels in. I think that's what he's going to do. And if they don't accommodate that, there's a team we just talked about that's quarterback's going to retire. And it's the team that he wanted to go to this year, but that quarterback came back. That's New Orleans. And I think Tom Brady could go there. Michael Thomas is unhappy. I bet you he cheers his ass up if Tom Brady comes in, that he brings Gronk with him possibly at a discounted price, because Gronk has so much money from endorsements. He doesn't need $12 million a year, and he's not worth that for the kind of player he is. He's a part-time red zone guy. You put him with Jared Cook, Kamara, Michael Thomas, Brady they'd light up the league next year, potentially. So I think, and that's an ultimate FU to Tampa for not listening to him, because Brady cries sometimes when he doesn't get his way, which I know, seen him cry for 20 years in New England, even though most of the time, let's be honest, things went his way. But I think he's back. I'm just not convinced it's with Tampa.
Listen, I mean, that's a really hot take. I mean, if he went to New Orleans and was able to win with basically the same team that Drew Brees had the year before, and Drew wasn't, oh man. I mean, that's just another one of those notches on his belt that he can hold over. Because, all those guys are prideful.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when they're in the room with each other, they're talking mad crap. Peyton and Tom and Drew are all in that upper echelon in that, that luxury box, and they're all talking junk to each other. That'd be another chip he'd have. Yep. He's got enough on Peyton. He doesn't have that many on Drew because Drew's got a lot of records. He's got more rings, but the records and everything, that would be something to really stick it in there.
The reports were that was his first choice, but Drew came back, so obviously there was no fit. So that's something to keep an eye on, because
you think that influenced Drew's choice to come back at all?
It might have.
Oh.
They talk.
Oh, I'd love to crawl inside
Drew's
brain and find out if that had any percent.
But do you think if Drew wins the Super Bowl, which I'm predicting, so we're running my scenario, they win it, and then Tom calls listen, dude, Tampa's not working. Bruce is a complete jackass. He doesn't know how to coach a game to save his life. How would you feel if I went up there and teamed up with Sean for 1 year? Breeze would be like, dude, he'll know exactly how to utilize you. Let's get it going. Pick Breeze's brain. You can honestly have Breeze be the damn QB coach, for God's sake. You could, because who knows that offense better than Drew Brees? At a young age and now at an older age, you could run the same playbook. Hopefully next year we have training camps and stuff, and this COVID stuff's kind of a thing of the past.
I mean, we're getting the vaccine, so maybe. Yeah.
Hopefully by when's training camp? July, August. Hopefully we're good by then. I think it's a hot take, but when we're doing our preseason stuff and free agency, don't be shocked if one of the articles you see on thebuzz.com is Tom Brady opts out of his $30 million option and will test the market, and he's not retiring. Because I don't think he's as sold on Bruce Arians as everybody else thinks he is. That's why they're trying to go on golf outings, and the NFL is declining them, because they're trying to do whatever they can to fix that broken relationship, because there's just something off.
But don't you as a competitor, which I feel like Drew is one of the ultimate competitors, if he wins a Super Bowl this year, you don't think he's not going to want to run it back? I think that's the only scenario where he comes back.
I don't know. That's
the only scenario where he comes back.
So hurt over the last few years.
I agree with you, but would you want to? So Drew's fighting for his place in all-time greats, right? We agree that Drew has to win another Super Bowl to be in the top 3. He has to, right?
Yeah, it would help.
But I don't think there's an argument there if he doesn't win another Super Bowl.
4 or 5. But yeah,
right.
Another one, he's arguably top 3.
Right. I totally agree with you. So I imagine if he had a chance to win 3, right? I mean, that might put him in top 2 because he's got all the records. He's got all the stats. He had a huge comeback story. He came back from catastrophic elbow injury, you know what I mean? Or shoulder, elbow, right? I think it was elbow. That makes a great storyline, and that probably puts him in the argument for top 2 of all time. He could be up there with Montana, who's number 2 to me, right? You could make an argument, even though he doesn't have as many rings, his story is just as compelling or more than Montana's, right? adversity, everything like that. People wrote him off in the NFL. You know what I mean?
was
The
too
Chargers
short.
traded him. Like, so yeah, I mean,
I'm a big Drew Brees fan. The dude's a baller. He always
Yeah.
has been. He's too short at Purdue. I remember I watched my Michigan Wolverines play Purdue, and Brady and Brees played each other in college. And that's how far. And they've always been really good friends. I think that's why it'd be kind of, if that scenario were to play out, Brees would be more than happy to bring in TB12 because he's obviously going to want what's best for New Orleans going forward. But that'll be interesting. That's just my take on it. I wouldn't be surprised. But if Tom Brady tells the GM of the Bucks, hey, it's Bruce or me, Bruce getting fired, and they're going to offer Josh McDaniels $15 million a year just to keep Tom happy. That's ultimately what I think will happen. But
I mean, do you think Tom wants Josh?
yes, you can see the difference. Could you imagine how Tom would be doing with how McDaniels could do with Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Rob Gronkowski, Ronald Jones, who's top 5 in rushing, by the way, which nobody understands, but he's a very good running back. He's a faster Brandon Jacobs. He's just as big. He wears 27. He looks just like that battering ram the Giants had. Because I remember he ran over my Patriots every damn time we played him.
Well, the
McDaniels,
crazy
this
part is
offense,
you got Leonard Fournette as a backup there. Like Leonard Fournette,
yeah, he's a healthy scratch.
he isn't what we thought he was, but he's still a heck of a backup.
Josh McDaniels would use him as LeGarrette Blunt when he scored 18 touchdowns.
He'd be a better LeGarrette Blunt.
Yes, because he's
More
much more
talented.
athletic and younger.
Yeah.
Yes. So McDaniels, this team would be 10-3 right now. They'd be competing for the 1 seed, in my opinion, with McDaniels.
Yeah.
He just knows how to use.
You.
You guys make fun of Cam more than me, but I'm a Patriots fan, so it kind of hurts. But look what he's done with Cam. Yeah, his passing's not great, but he's got 12 or 13 rushing touchdowns. We're actually somehow still in the playoff hunt with as crappy as we've played over the last 2 months. McDaniels can get the most out of what he's got. He has a lot to work with in Tampa Bay.
Oh,
So I feel like
any offensive coordinator would kill for that offense. It'd be like Kansas City, you know. Those are and the Rams, like those 3 teams, and even the Browns, right? Like that. I'm kind of homer in there, but we got a lot of weapons too. Higgins looks really, really good. I'm very impressed, and they're already talking about locking him up early. I can't wait because we need
lock him up for cheap.
to not pay him big time money because I think a couple years from now he's going to be a big time receiver. He looks really, really good.
What also looks really good is this guy. He's cancer free. He's coaching the Washington football team, which they need a damn name because I hate that name. Is he your coach of the year?
Yeah, as much as it hurts me because I think Stefanski deserves it, but Rivera, it's just too much of a feel-good story, right? Like, the Redskins still really aren't that good of a football team. They're just in the worst division of the NFL, and they have a really good defense and not so much of an offense. So, yeah, I mean, he deserves it because of everything he went through off the field and the fact that he's been focused enough to be a year ahead of schedule as far as being competitive in the division that he's in, right? Otherwise, I mean, we wouldn't be talking about him. But why would you? What?
Sean McVay. A lot of people. I had him at 4-12 coming into this year. I mean, I wouldn't give it to McVay, but he should be in the consider. I didn't think the Rams would be very good.
With all that talent on defense and offense, you didn't think they'd be very good?
I was never a Jared Goff guy. Ever since that Super Bowl last year, he looked shell-shocked after New England just destroyed his confidence.
Yeah, but the fog's gone now, right? Like, I mean,
he's playing better. I'm glad to see him playing better. But I'm going to disagree with you here, and I'm actually going to go with your coach because I think your coach should win Coach of the Year, and I don't think it should be close. The feel-good story in the awards is going to be Alex Smith winning Comeback Player of the Year, and that should be 100% of votes should go to him. Yes, Big Ben will get a couple. Hell, Cam's probably going to get a few fifth-place votes just because people are happy that he can actually walk on a field after missing, 3 or 4 years with injury. He's going to get 2, but what your guys' coach has done – you're a Browns fan, dude. I live in Ohio. I know how hard it is to get that stench of you're the Browns, you suck, you're mocked. I'm a Michigan fan. I've been going through it for about 20 years now myself. That stench, I think, is why Harbaugh can't even fix them. But it's so hard to go into a losing culture, flip it. You just had a guy that worked at Burger King coaching you guys last year.
Yep.
Freddie Kitchens deserves to be working in a kitchen. That's all he should ever do. This dude comes in, great roster, loses your best receiver. We'll just say best receiver, and you guys.
Well, let's
look
be
so
honest.
much
Most
better.
talented receiver for
Yeah,
sure.
by far. I mean, he commands a double team. That's the best thing he could do. If I was the Browns and I kept him, I just put him. I'd find the best corner, line Baker or line Beckham with him, and throw it to somebody else, unless Beckham was wide open. But I give it to Stefanski. Rivera's 2, and McVay is my 3rd. Belichick's in my top 5 just because I can't believe he might get 7 wins out of this roster that I had higher hopes for than what it looks. The fact that Demarius Bird's going to be our leading receiver this year absolutely blows my mind. I didn't know who the guy was until I looked him up on Madden 21, so whatever. It's fine. Louis Riddick will interview with a couple teams. I think so far it's Houston and Detroit. To me, this guy is the most talented analyst on ESPN, and he's the best Monday night guy they've had since probably John Gruden left. He's so good. It's going to break my heart, but I think he is a GM, and I think he's a GM of the Lions next year. What do you think, Alex? Do you think he will take one of these jobs next year? Because Detroit and Houston are both pretty intriguing jobs, even though Houston's a little more because they already got Deshaun locked in.
I was going to say, if I'm him, right, I'm taking the Houston job in a heartbeat, because what coach would not want to work with Deshaun Watson? Now, they're going to be fighting uphill because the other idiot that used to hold both those positions really put them in a terrible position for the next couple years as far as draft picks. But Brandon Cooks has actually worked out. And David Johnson, when he's healthy, which has always been his issue, has not been terrible. So, he didn't leave him completely in the dark, but, the lights are dim. Yeah, I would take the Houston in a heartbeat. If I'm Houston, I offer him whatever he wants because I think he really could help change that franchise around. I like Louis Riddick a lot. I agree with you. I think he's the best analyst they've had since Gruden, 100%. And I think he's got such a smart football IQ that his pride will not let him be unsuccessful. I feel they'll be successful. It might take him a couple years, but he'll make the right draft picks. You know what I mean? And he'll work with his head coach.
Yeah, and Bakley says Joe Brady and Eric Bieniemy, which is the OC of the Chiefs, which is going to be the hot candidate. I feel like if the Chargers fire Anthony Lynn, that's where he's going to go because Herbert's there, Keenan Allen's there, Eckler's there. He has talent. He's familiar with the division. That would be where he goes. But if I'm Houston, there's already reports that Deshaun wants them to look at him. Yeah. So we agree on that. The 49ers, buy or sell, will not return to championship form in 2021. I already tell you I'm buying because I don't know who their quarterback is because I think Jimmy G's getting cut.
Yeah, I agree. That defense is filthy and is going to keep them in games, but without a franchise quarterback, I don't know where you go or what you do. Now if they bring Dak in.
Yeah, Dak or Matt Ryan, because Matt Ryan's got the familiarity with Shanahan from the Atlanta days.
They bring in Dak or Matt Ryan, they're in championship form. But I don't know if it happens. No, I don't know what the cap is for Jimmy G because they gave him a lot of money.
It's they save 20 if they cut him straight up. He has no guaranteed money left.
Well, then they should cut him.
Clean cut because I think he's cut him. I think he's going to be the coach. I think he's going to be New England's quarterback next year because Bill loves the guy, and he's going to come with a cheap price tag because he just made $130 million in like 3 years, and Bill loves the guy. He about traded Tom Brady to the.
Yeah.
Bill had his way. Tom Brady would be on the 49ers probably still right now, but whatever. I agree with you. I don't think they're going to be there. The NFC West is way too stacked. The Cardinals, they're overachieving for me this year. I think next year they're just going to take another leap because they're going to add more weapons. I think Fitz is going to come back again, help mentor Christian Kirk, D-Hop, get a full training camp.
Remember what I said about Isaiah Simmons? All those teams were going to regret not drafting him.
Yeah, he's been
a stud for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think San Francisco goes and asks Philip what Wentz price is? Maybe Wentz is going to be like the topic of conversation if Philly actually is going to move him.
They're going to have to move off of him. You have destroyed his image in Philly, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, you've destroyed the confidence in him. If I'm him, I'm demanding a trade.
I am too.
I don't want to play.
Would you
thought
eat
a guy
your
you
money?
drafted
Would
in
you
the second round.
renegotiate to leave?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Absolutely, if I'm him, because at this point he has to be successful and look like the guy we saw, 2 years ago, right? Before he's going to get, a chance to really, he's going to have to renegotiate to go to a good franchise.
Yeah.
He could go to the Jets.
Hey, I'll give me your
do
top.
the same thing he's doing in Philly.
Before we go to the last one, give me your top 3 best fits in your opinion for Carson Wentz.
I think the only fit, honestly, if I'm him, is Indianapolis, because I think he would be an absolute stud in that offense. He fits the things that Frank Wright wants to do that he can't do because he has immobile Phillip Rivers. He could do with Carson Wentz, and it's one of the top offensive lines in the NFL, and they're healthy, and he has 3 really good. Marlon Mack, everybody's forgetting about him. But when he comes back, they have a 3-headed monster there, right? And they're probably going to trade one of them and get another piece on defense or another wide or a tight end. Who knows what they're going to get? But they'll probably trade Marlon Mack because he's got value.
Yeah, he
probably
does.
would have got traded this year if he didn't get hurt, because Taylor's the truth. And the reason they drafted him is to get him on that cheap rookie contract. Marlon's coming up for his money, right? Naheem Hines is a third down specialty receiving back, right? So he's not going to get a lot of money. So I think Indianapolis is the by far best fit for him. If I had to pick 2 more teams, I would say San Francisco's up there really, really high. And before this year, I would have said the Las Vegas Raiders. But Derek Carr has done enough, I think, to secure his spot. So if I had to pick a third team, that's tough, man. Let's say Jacksonville, because I don't think Jacksonville is a trash heap. I just think,
and they're not going to get Trevor either, and that's
right.
what I don't know if they want Justin. I'd go Colts. Right. Colts. I would have went Vegas as well, but I like the Niners because if Shanahan runs an offense that he should be able to handle, and I like New England as like that dark horse. Just sit and see what the price is. If he's willing to renegotiate,
actually, who would be my third choice? Honestly, Dallas.
You think, dude, if the Eagles traded him to Dallas, that'd be like they did trade McNabb to Washington. Granted, that would be, dude, I would love that to happen. Speaking of somebody I'd love to get traded away, Josh Allen, buy or sell him as a tier. I'd love to be traded out of Buffalo. I'm sick of hearing about the guy.
Oh, okay. I was going to say,
as a Pats fan, I'm sick of hearing
right, because he's going to make you miserable for years to come.
Him and his 4-9 record against New England, he makes me so sad. He would have lost this year if Cam would have held onto the ball. Josh Allen will be a tier 1 quarterback in 2021. Buy or sell?
You're going to hate me for this, but I'm going to buy. Honestly, if you want the truth, I think he's a tier 1 quarterback right now. Legitimately, I do. Just tell me what part of his game he is not improved on to the point where he has his team in every single game.
No, I can't. But that's not my issue with him. Stats are great.
What's your issue with him then?
I'm also buying he will be top tier next year because in the regular season he's fine. My issue is he can't win a big game to save his life. And
so he suffers from the Lamar Jackson effect.
Pretty much. He's in the same category as me, except Lamar Jackson I think's more talented overall, and he has won an MVP and Josh hasn't, which it is what it is. I'm buying him to be top tier. He's won a playoff game. He's won a playoff game.
This is going to be a touchy subject because we have some Ravens fans that are friends of mine that tune into this podcast. In what area besides being faster is Lamar Jackson better than Josh Allen?
He's more athletic.
That's it. More athletic and faster. He doesn't read progressions better. He cannot read defenses well. He can only run the ball. I mean, you saw that in the Cleveland game. If we didn't break down our defense and blitz like idiots on a guy that supposedly had cramps
Yeah, on the Hollywood
On the
Brown
Hollywood
touchdown.
Brown, he's not wide open, and we might be talking about the Browns winning that game, right? So he's not a better quarterback than Josh Allen, and I'll argue anybody to prove me otherwise.
Yeah, Bakley
And
says, "Look how good
Stephon,
Stephon Diggs."
yeah,
I don't
Stephon
think Josh
Diggs is
Allen's the reason Stephon Diggs looks good though. He did just fine in Minnesota as well. I think Stephon
Stephon
Diggs
Diggs
is a
is the
huge get for
reason
Josh
that
Allen.
Josh Allen has taken the next step in his progression
I would agree with you.
because he didn't have a deep threat. Everybody bagged on him. The only issue he had that everybody bagged on him about was his deep throw efficiency. He's number 2 in the league in deep throw efficiency now. Like the guy is
He's got
lighting
weapons.
the guy is lighting the NFL on fire this year.
And they're still, in my opinion, underutilizing Cole Beasley. I feel like he needs to be on the field way more than he is.
Well, you look when he was, I think it was 2 weeks ago.
He threw a
I mean,
touchdown.
he killed it. I mean, I think he had 11 receptions, 115 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like he looked like a
He's
world
more
beater.
athletic Julian Edelman. That's exactly
100%.
what he is.
Yeah, younger, more athletic
My
Julian.
dad's a huge Cowboy fan. And I watched him play with Dallas for years. I was like, if you throw the name Edelman on his back, nobody would know. They would just think, man, Edelman got a little quicker. Because Beasley, I feel like New England should have. They offered him a contract, but Billy has to lowball everybody because they went after him, Adam Humphries. They went after a couple of guys, and they settled for. I don't even remember because he's not on the team no more because Bill doesn't do good with wide receivers. Dave and AJ, so this is AJ. He's a Jets fan. My team needs everything, including a GM and a head coach. He's a Jets fan. I'm sorry, AJ. Your team will be good about 2035. It'll be fine. In Allen's defense, before this year, Cole Beasley was best receiver and had him and John Brown. And for a while, what was that tight end they had for a few years?
Clay.
Charles Clay. He didn't have the worst weapons, and he did have a running game earlier in his career. Josh Allen has stepped up. Playoff pressure is my only knock on him, dude. On Blitz this week, I told him I was like, Josh Allen, show me what you're worth tonight against Pittsburgh. And he shit the bed in the first half. He lit it up in the second half, but there's still that debate, is Pittsburgh really a top-tier team? Because the Pittsburgh I've seen in the last 6-7 games, I think they're a one and done in the playoffs. I don't care who they're playing. But that's just me. Speaking of playing and sitting, so Fantasy Zone. So I'm off my bye week. I'm actually playing this week. I'm starting Herbert against the Raiders tomorrow night. J.K. Dobbins, this hurts. You're an Ohio State guy. He looked great Monday. I think he's going to light up Jacksonville.
He killed us.
Brandon Ayuk is going to tear up the Cowboys' terrible secondary. And Logan Thomas is a tough matchup against Seattle, but the dude looks like he's going to fill that Jordan Reed role, in my opinion. And then your starts were Jared Goff. You're riding those red-hot Rams right now. They're playing the Jets, so I don't blame you. Jared Goff, Cam Akers, T.Y. Hilton, and Gronk. So why Gronk? Because I have Gronk and Eric Ebron, and Gronk scares me because he's so inconsistent.
So that as far as I'm concerned, the Falcons have pretty much packed it in, right? Like the season's over for them. They're fighting for a draft pick position at this point in time. So they're not really motivated. I get it. The players don't care. You hear that all the time. But losing has a way of wearing you down. And I just think that Gronk provides a tough matchup for that secondary and that linebacking core. And Tom Brady gets back on track with him. Like I told everybody that was worried about Gronk beginning of the season, all you need him for is the playoff push and in the playoffs. I don't need him to have 50 to 60 catches during the season, 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns. I need him about 8 touchdowns, 6 of those in the last 6 weeks of the season, right? One a week. And then I need 4 or 5 touchdowns in the playoffs out of him, which I think he's still capable of. You see sparks of the old Gronk, just thinner, not as durable, you know what I mean? Not as big and bulky, right?
Few and far between what he usually is. He'll
100%.
give you that game. I feel like they're saving him. Like
Agreed.
New England kind of did that. They'd play him. Oh, Kansas City, he'd play the full game. Oh, the Jets, he'd play 30% of the snaps. And you'd see back then they had that tight end.
Because you didn't need him.
Dwayne Allen is who they had back in those days. They played Dwayne Allen a whole game. Or hell, Ryan Izzo, who I don't know how he has a job. I don't really disagree with anything. I'm an Eric Ebron and a Gronk owner. I drafted George Kittle. So when I came into this year with George Kittle and Gronk, I was like, oh my God.
You're going to
5
kill the
years
league.
ago, I would have won the league just based off these two guys alone. But now Kittle's on IR, even though fantasy people, they did activate him off IR. So he's on that 21-day window. Does he get a play before the championship? And how much will he play? I might have to make that choice if I survive this week. But I don't really have any questions about your start. Sitting Tua. Belichick's defenses with rookie quarterbacks, and Tua hasn't looked the sharpest. And he looked really good last week. I'll give him that. But he hasn't been the sharpest since he's took over that role. I take one of your Ohio State guys, and I'm benching the other one. Zeke Elliott just looks – I feel like when Tony Pollard's in the game, he just looks a lot faster, and he just looks better than Zeke.
He looks younger, more in shape,
And he
more interested, right, in playing.
Yep. And then Devontae Parker. Now, this one was hard for me because Stephon Gilmore, the number one receiver that has success against him, is Devontae Parker. He lights him up like a firework every time.
But he sees him twice a year, so he knows, you know what I mean?
But I'm sitting him because of Tua's struggles. If Fitzpatrick was playing, Parker wouldn't be here because Fitzpatrick knows how to get the ball to him. I don't trust Tua. With the Patriots going to hit him with so many different things on the defense side of the ball. And that secondary is still pretty damn good. We have no pass rush, but we never do. So I'd set Parker. And Hayden Hurst, to me, your Browns took Hooper. They traded, I think, a 2 and a 3.
Which
and they
was
gave this
he's been a disappointment all year.
So you guys
and Hayden Hurst has been a disappointment all year as a replacement.
Baltimore came out of this sitting pretty because they got a second and a third out of Hayden Hurst, and he's been complete crap for them. So I'm sitting him as well. And then you have Drew Lock, Todd Gurley at running back, Devontae Parker, same, and Zach Ertz. So is your Zach – we'll go with Ertz. We'll stick with the tight end. So is you sitting Ertz based on the fact that Jalen Hurts is still getting integrated into it, and he didn't show a lot in the passing game this past week anyway. Running the ball, he looked fantastic, but passing the ball, not so much.
It's not necessarily as much of a Jalen Hurts thing as an Isaiah Simmons thing. I think Isaiah Simmons is going to be matched up against Ertz. And honestly, to me, Isaiah Simmons should be in the conversation for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
That was my pick.
He has really, really turned that secondary around. He has made a huge difference. When people thought, well, there's not really a position for him, he's a hybrid linebacker safety. I knew he was going to play safety, and I knew he was as big and fast as he is. He was going to be the tight end killer, right? And that's what he's done. If you look at numbers for tight ends against the Cardinals, none of them do very well. So I just think it's the Isaiah Simmons effect. Hurts might have a little bit to do with it, but I think it's more about Isaiah Simmons.
You know who I am buying at tight end? The guy that me and Drew mocked a month ago on Blitz, Dan and Arnold. Put some respect on Dan Arnold. 10-plus fantasy points the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
And me and Drew mocked. We were talking about Arizona's depth chart and how they needed tight end, and we just died laughing when we named Dan Arnold. Since then, he's been balling out. So Dan Arnold, Arizona, you're welcome. Me and Drew take 100% responsibility for that. So game picks is up next. Before we get there, check out like I said, same lineup, same personalities, different channel. Check us out.
War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them I'm ready, any opponent. The crown heavy and every minute is chosen. A path only fit for kings, and you won't know what this court means. What did you enlist for? If it isn't getting more rings, then you gon' have to switch your team. Trust me, it gets more mean. I'm a nightmare going up against your dreams. First step is explosive like a bomb hit. Bet if I let it fly, I cannot miss. And you ain't got a chance at the top 10 when you getting clamped all night by your locksmith. On the block, throwing lobs to my top bigs. I'm a chef, no look, with the top dish. Tie game, through the pressure as the clock ticks. Crossover, step back, hit a shot, swish. Tell them that's what we ready for. Tell them that's what we're ready for.
All right, game picks. 15, it's crazy. It's already week 15. The playoffs are like 3 weeks away. Big game tomorrow in the playoff chase for the Raiders, at least. San Diego. The LA Chargers, all these name changes are going to take me at least 3 years to get used to. I still call them San Diego. I'm going to call Washington, the name we're not supposed to say, whatever. Chargers at Raiders. Who you got?
So I'm going to take Las Vegas. They're only a 3-point favorite at home, which is surprising to me. Herbert, I think, is the real deal. He might end up being the best quarterback out of this draft because of Burrow's injury. I think might be the only thing that could hold Burrow back. But I think they're both two franchise quarterbacks. Well, really three if you include Tua out of this draft, which is really, really good for these franchises. Really going to help them turn around. So, yeah, I think Herbert's going to make it close. But at the end of the day, who's going to guard Waller for the Chargers? I don't know. Who's been able to guard him all year? I don't know. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Raiders.
I'm going Chargers.
Ooh. Is that your upset of the week?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think I have another one. I did my picks on the boardroom last night, but I think I had another one.
Okay.
I don't know if it's that big of an upset. It's a division game. Anthony Lynn's coaching for his job. I feel like Henry Ruggs is out. I think he has COVID. So that's your deep threat's gone. So they can put a bracket on Waller and make somebody else beat you. Josh Jacobs has been running the ball well. Granted, the Chargers defense isn't playing particularly well either, but most of them's on IR. I don't think anybody's going to be able to cover Keenan Allen. And they just fired the defensive coordinator last week after giving up 44 to the Colts. The Raiders look like they could go into complete free fall after that game last week. Even though they're battling for a playoff spot, I think they're going to lose this. I think it'll be close, like 31-28. It's a division game. You never know how these go. Plus, for some reason, Vegas can't win games at their new stadium, which blows my mind. They have a better record on the road. But Buffalo and Denver. I'd love to say it's a trap game, but I got Buffalo easily.
Yeah, I don't even think it's close.
Oh, sorry, Denver fans. Carolina at Green Bay.
So this could be a sneaky game if CMC is back. I don't know his status right now. I knew that they had talked about him being possibly back.
Let me double check.
I know Drew would love him to be back. Well, actually, Drew wouldn't because he traded him in one league.
He is out.
Okay. So with him being out, I'm going to go with the Packers.
Yeah, I think Mike Davis is going to have a great game this week because by default, he's been playing great all year, actually. So if Carolina, I know he's only on a 1-year deal, but he might have, with McCaffrey's injury, might have been the biggest blessing this guy could have got. He might get a nice starting gig, at least get a nice payday next year. This game screams Aaron Jones, Aaron Jones, Aaron Jones. He needs a bounce-back game. If Green Bay is going to hold on to that 1 seed and be a well-oiled machine going into the playoffs, they're going to need Aaron Jones. Can you imagine if they get Aaron Jones going? They got the emergence of Tunyon. Scaldez is SVG, right? Or whatever. He's playing a lot better. Lazard's getting healthier. Devontae's balling. You got weapons all over the place. You get that defense. If they get Smith, the pass rusher, back,
right?
Get that pass rush at the right time. Green Bay could be a team that you do not want to see. This screams trap, man. I got the Colts, but it's a division game, and you cannot bet against Deshaun. Deshaun Watson could just throw for 404 touchdowns no matter who his receivers are. But I still got the Colts, but I think this is a close game.
Yeah, I mean, Colts are 7.5-point favorites, and I was surprised that they were that. I think this is a field goal, maybe 4-point game. Like, I don't think it's I think Vegas has a potential of losing some money on this game. But the line might change. I mean, we're only on Wednesday, so it could change by the time we get closer to game time once they see everybody betting the Texans, right? So, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think this is probably a trap game, but I got faith in the Colts. That defense is good enough. I think that they'll get a win.
Well, they're battling for that division, too. They have to stay on par.
Yeah, they got to win out to guarantee that they win the division.
Yeah, and the team they're competing with, Tennessee. They got Detroit. No Matthew Stafford, probably out for the rest of the year. I'm a terrible host because I have no idea who Detroit's backup quarterback is at this point because I didn't even look.
Hold on, I'll tell you right now.
He's out for the year, it looks like, with a rib injury.
Chase Daniels.
Okay, so yeah, same guy they've had for feels like forever. Detroit, I don't know what's worse, the fact that like they have no coach and they're probably going to hire Harbaugh, which is going to make them worse probably. And Stafford might not be back next year. There's rumors that Stafford, they just want to clean cut. His salary cap number goes down. They're not going to owe him much guaranteed. Apparently, they love Trey Lance, who's like a middle tier first round pick this year, because they're not going to be in the Justin Fields. Trevor
I
Lawrence
almost put
phase.
them in the Carson Wentz
They could.
conversation, but
It would depend
if
who
I'm
they
Carson
hire.
Wentz, I don't go there though.
No, I figure he has a list of teams he'll go to, and that's where he wants to go. Which is why I put New England up there. Because hey, you want to go play with Belichick? He'd be like, sure. I mean, he got Cam Newton to win 6 games, and he had 5 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Imagine what Carson Wentz hasn't been that bad. I mean, let's be honest. He'd be
And they always have even if it's a piecemeal, a decent offensive line in New England.
The offensive line is super strong. I got Tennessee winning this running away.
Yep.
Derrick Henry is on fire. This is where those tires are turning, Alex. Derrick Henry's ramping it up, and he's ready to roll right into the playoffs. This is where
Man,
Tennessee
he's murdering fantasy. Jeez.
Yes. Luckily, Bakley,
71 points in our league last week.
Yeah, luckily in our league, Bakley didn't make the playoffs. He's got Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb, and he lit up some guy in the consolation.
How did he not make the playoffs with those two? He must have a terrible team besides
Chubb
them.
got hurt,
Right.
and then he traded Hunt because he had both, but he traded Hunt before Chubb got hurt because he had Henry.
Right.
He tried to get wide receiver depth, and I think he had like 2 or 3 players going IR. He might have been the one that had OBJ too.
Oh,
So he had a
man.
rough year.
So rough season injury wise.
Speaking of rough seasons, both these teams, Mitch looked golden last week. I don't expect him to do it again.
The records are wrong here. Both of them are 6 and 7, I think.
Okay. All right.
I think. I'm not positive. Let me look.
You're probably right. But
Yeah, Bears are 6 and 7.
both clinging to their playoff lives, so to speak. So the winner lives on to play another day, and the loser's pretty much out. I'm taking Minnesota. I think they're dangerous. I think if they get in at the 7 seed, whoever that 2 seed is, most notably if that is the New Orleans Saints, they need to be worried. The only good thing that could come of that is because if the Saints lose to them on Christmas, as we talked earlier, it's hard to beat a team twice.
Right.
Especially, and the Saints and the Vikings are very familiar with each other. I think Dalvin Cook has a game this week, and Justin Jefferson. If me and Drew talked on Blitz this past Sunday, if you take all the quarterbacks out of Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think Justin Jefferson would be the Offensive Rookie of the Year easily. He's the number 2 rated receiver in the NFL this year, according to PFF, after Devontae Adams. So, I mean, the kid is going to be a star.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't miss a beat losing Stephon Diggs, which I thought was a bonehead move when they made the trade. But, I mean, clearly their GM knows what he's doing. Their draft analysis guys really got it together because he is a stud, absolute beast. Yeah, they're only a 3.5-point favorite, but I'm going to go with the Vikings as well. But this could be one of those games where Trubisky somehow pulls a rabbit out of a hat and they win one. But I think the Vikings will hold true.
Yeah, speaking of Trubisky, man, I think he is the most, outside of Carson, the most interesting free agent quarterback that's going to be on the market next year. I feel like if he finds the right team that can utilize his skill set, he's mobile. He's not the most accurate, but I feel like the Bears haven't really helped him out much either. He's had Allen Robinson, a terrible offensive line for most of his tenure there.
And David Montgomery as a running back, and Tariq Cohen, who's always hurt.
Yes, I mean, and they're not sold on the guy. He got him to the playoffs. If the kicker makes that kick, Clearly knows where Mitch is right now because they would have won that game. I feel like a clean slate would help him out. All right. This, to me, is a very intriguing game. Washington plays defense. That defensive line is nasty. Seattle does not have a great offensive line by any means. That defensive line, starring your boy Chase Young, who isn't even putting up crazy numbers. He's just commanding double teams and freeing up Sweat and Jonathan Allen and all those other first and second round picks they have sprinkled all across that front 7. This is a scary game for Seahawks fans. I'm interested what the spread is on this one because I feel like Seattle would be 2 or 3, 5.
5.5 for Seattle.
I would take the bet for
Oh,
Washington.
yeah, I'd take Washington.
but I got Seattle. This is one of those games. 2017 defense. This is going to be a defensive struggle.
This is my upset of the week.
You take
Washington football team. Yeah, I somehow, some way, I think Washington's going to end up 8-8, and I think this is one of the games they got to win to do it.
Think they're winning the division?
Yeah, I think the Washington football team is going to make a triumphant return to the playoffs for 1 week.
That would be so cool for Alex Smith.
Oh yeah, 100%. That also makes it even better case for him to win comeback player of the year, even though he's already the comeback player of the year.
As soon as he stepped
for
on
not being dead,
I
for
would
not
have
dying on the operating table, he's comeback player of the year.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I got Seattle, but I'd roll with the spread. But this is one of the more intriguing games this week. To me, it's the second best game on this schedule for this week. After the one we'll get to toward the end, it's the Sunday night. Obviously, the biggest game. Or no, I think it's 4-3. We'll get to it. New England and Miami. Don't even want to know what the spread is. It's probably like 30 for Miami because New England looks like crap.
2.5 for Miami only.
That's all respect to Bill Belichick. That's exactly what that is. I got New England, and here's why. Tua against that defense, and it's crazy as it sounds. There's two games Cam's played well this year. It was Seattle, and it was Miami. And he plays better in hot weather, which is very odd to me, which maybe next year he should sign with a team that plays in hot weather and not New England, but I digress.
Well, I mean, he was in Carolina, who has pretty much warm weather for 80% of the year. So
I got Cam lit them up through the air and on the ground week one, which granted, they're coming no training camp. What's Cam going to look like? How are they going to use them? That was kind of out there. Now there's tons of game film. I think this game is 16-13 kind of game. Whoever gets to 20 would win this game to me. You're going to have probably JC, Garden, Parker, I would say, because they've been playing JC more than Gilmore at the number one spot, which Bill's grooming. He knows Gilmore's not going to be on the team next year. They're just grooming JC. He's on a restricted tender. He'll make $3 million next year and be the number one corner on the team. They'll trade Gilmore, hopefully for Beckham. That's what I want personally. I'd rather have Beckham than a second-round pick that we can draft another receiver that doesn't do shit for us. At least Beckham's a proven commodity given the right situation. But I got New England close. I got 16-13, man. I feel like this game's going to put me to bed at 1 o'clock on a Sunday because it's going to be Nick Folk versus Jason Sanders.
I got the Dolphins.
I think that, they're my biggest sleeper in the AFC, yet I still pick New England to beat them.
I truly believe in the Dolphins. I think Tua is the truth. And like I told you before, I thought he was going to be the best quarterback in the draft. So yeah, I'm going to stick with my guns. I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
Pre-injury, I did as well. I remember you guys had me on game-winning drive when I first started with the old place.
Yep.
And you guys asked me who the best quarterback in the AFC East was, and I said Tua, and you guys started laughing because he hadn't played a snap yet. He's getting there.
Yep.
All right, this game, I got Baltimore. It's Jacksonville.
Yeah, this is unbearable. Yeah.
They're tanking for Trevor. It is what it is. Tampa Bay and Atlanta, it's almost on the same level as the game before, even though this is a division game, and Atlanta does have some firepower. I don't think Julio's playing again this year. I'm interested to see if this is Julio's last season with Atlanta with all these trade rumors, and Atlanta's obviously going to need to rebuild. I mean, Todd Gurley, Matt Ryan, and Julio is a very old core to grow around. Calvin Ridley's kind of taken that number one role over. Hayden Hurst has been a complete shit show since he's been there. The offensive line's not good. The defense isn't much better. I feel like they're just ready for a full rebuild, so they might trade off Matt, Julio. I agree with you. I think they've given up. I got Tampa Bay winning this game like 27-13.
Yeah, Tampa's 5.5-point favorite. I'm going Tampa as well.
Tampa's got to start winning games here. They need to make sure they need to go for that 5 seed. Even though Washington would be a scary matchup for them with that pass rush, because you know how TB12 don't like dancing around back in that pocket.
Yeah, he don't like to get hit. You hit him early and often is the recipe for success.
Discouraged. Well, that's why they should run the ball with Ronald Jones more, but whatever. I'm not Bruce Arians. The 49ers and the Cowboys. It's weird these two teams are playing each other, and it's irrelevant to anything. Both teams are out of the playoffs. Dallas, I guess, technically is somewhat still in the division. Like if Washington loses out and Philly loses, I don't know. There's some way they can still sneak in, but for their sake, I hope they don't. They need a good draft pick. They need to start rebuilding. I got Dallas, though, just because I trust Andy Dalton more than Nick Mullins.
I got San Fran because the defense is still
better than Dallas is,
more significant than Dallas, and the fact that Kittle might actually play, from what I'm hearing, he could be a game time decision, right? So, yeah.
See, I'm starting Ebron over Gronk, and that was my toss up. But with the fact that Kittle could play at 4, if I have Ebron in and he plays Monday night, I can throw Kittle in. So, and Gronk plays at 1, so that might be something I'll look into. Arizona and Philly. So, according to Eagles fans, the Eagles are going back to the Super Bowl because of Jalen Hurts after that one game where he barely completed over 50% of his passes. Granted, his first career start, he looked good, but the over-exaggeration of how great his first start was kind of threw me off a little bit. I like the guy. I liked him at Oklahoma. I liked him at Bama. But I got Arizona win this game big. Kyler Murray and D-Hop, they're trying to clinch a playoff berth as well. They're right in the thick of it. If they win this game, that kind of keeps them a game above Minnesota. It's pretty much a must-win for Arizona from here on out if they want to sneak in. So I got Arizona winning. Philly loses. I think they're pretty much out of everything.
Yeah, I mean, I got the Cardinals here as well. What's the spread? Sorry, I was reading about Kittle because I was trying to get more information. Spread is 6.5 to Arizona. So yeah, I mean they're in Arizona. So I'm gonna
cover too.
Yep, I'm gonna go with Arizona.
I think D-Hop versus Slay should be fun though. It really should.
It should be a good matchup.
Slay's been playing really well against top receivers. Man, the Jets, they're gonna lose.
Yeah,
that's it.
They're going to steamroll them. I think this is. I mean, it's a 17-point spread for the Rams. I mean, that's
wow.
They're begging people to bet Jets on this one to cover this. You know what I mean? Like that's
my second hot take is going to be New England's going to lose one of these next 2 games, and they're going to play the Jets week 17, and they're going to lose the game. That way, Jacksonville jumps the Jets and gets Trevor, so that Belichick don't have to deal with Trevor for the next couple of years. That's the Jets' only win this year. Mark it down. They will beat New England week 17. Stidham will play quarterback.
Oh, man.
They're going to play all their young guys, which is basically just play the same roster they're playing. They're going to have linemen out. Just watch it happen. Belichick would do that.
Oh, yeah, that's something. He's an evil mastermind, man.
You think he'd rather see Justin Fields than Trevor? Yes, he would rather see Justin Fields than Trevor, even though I think both will be pretty solid.
Yep.
Game of the week. Could be game of the year, depending on Drew Brees' health. I mean, this is by far the biggest matchup, I think, so far this season. Kansas City goes into New Orleans. New Orleans coming off a loss, which I think kind of benefits them a little bit. Kansas City coming off a very hard-fought game against Miami, which I think was the second best game of last week. I thought it was the best until your Browns played Monday night. I got Kansas City, but I got New Orleans getting their revenge in the Super Bowl. I got Kansas City actually like 35-20. I think Kansas City kind of easily takes this one. I think it's close to about halftime, like 14-14. And then Taysom Hill. I don't think Brees plays, though. If Brees plays, I might have to sing a different tune.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are only a 3.5-point favorite, and that's with Taysom as the starter right now, but with the rumor that Drew might come back. So I think that's having an effect on the line. Vegas is waiting and seeing more towards Friday before they change the line. I got Kansas City as well, and I think Kansas City, puts the Saints to bed before the third quarter. I think it's over by halftime. So,
yeah, I think we see this matchup again. I'm sticking with it. That's one of my predictions, which we'll get to after this game, my worst prediction of this year. But this is one that actually is still relevant. So we'll see. Dude, this is the definition. Your Browns and the Giants. You guys got flexed to the 8:30 time slot, and the Cowboys got flexed to the 1 o'clock time slot. Never thought I'd see the day that ever happened. Neither did my dad. He wasn't too thrilled about it. Just the principle of it. That's that losing stench. Even though you guys are good this year, it's that thing that you guys like I said, as a Michigan fan, I get it. I got the Giants. This is a trap, and they play good defense, and they're fighting for their playoff lives. This is another first to 20 wins. This is that game. I feel Baker's overthinking. They lost that game, even though it was really nobody's fault. Baker played well. Your defense didn't play particularly well, especially defending the run.
Mm-hmm.
But this could be Wayne Gallman, who's been running really well the last few weeks. I just feel my gut says Danny Dimes has one of those games where he plays really well, and Baker shits the bed this week. I still think you guys make the playoffs, and if you play Buffalo, I still have you guys beating them. But I got the Giants, who's trying to keep their – I actually have them winning the NFC East. So in order for them to do that, they need a win. So I got them winning and keeping pace with Washington.
This game's over before it even starts. The Browns are going to put a hurting on the Giants. They're going to get back to the run game this week like they've been doing, except for these last 2 weeks, and they're going to put it away early. I think it's probably 28-10 maybe, max. The Giants score 10 points, I think. I think it's going to be, the Browns realize they got to win these next 2 games for sure to guarantee that they get in the playoffs. And so, and you don't want to come down to playing against Pittsburgh last game of the year and having to have a win, because the AFC North is good for crushing playoff dreams. And it doesn't matter if we were playing the Bengals the last week of the year. I would not be excited if we needed a win. It's just the AFC North. That's how they do it, right? So the Browns had a chance to solidify and stay in contention with the Steelers, and you saw how the Ravens came out. The Ravens looked the best they looked all year against us. So, not on defense, but on offense. So, yeah, I just think
it'll be a good game.
Yeah.
I got WWE TLC Sunday night, so I'll be watching on my phone because I got stuff on the line for that with RSH. Pittsburgh and the Bengals. So we talked about my greatest prediction on this show before I even had a show. I picked the Bengals to go to the playoffs. Well, even if they played in the NFC East, they would be eliminated. So they are not making the playoffs this year. And I don't have them beating Pittsburgh either. If Burrow was playing, this would be my upset of the week.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'd probably have 2 more wins if Burrow was still playing. He
I think
made
they
them
won last week.
Yeah, he made them relevant. And without him, they look like the Andy Dalton-led Bengals once again. It looks putrid. Nothing you want to watch on TV.
No, that's a terrible Monday night game. I love how they can't flex out because of their games are set. How much you want to bet they'd rather flex out for Seattle, Washington, hell, Green Bay, Carolina I would take. There's not a lot of New England and Miami, but New England's on Monday night next week against
They
Buffalo.
could have flexed the Browns game to Monday night. I
Yeah.
know they just had one, but that would have been a better option.
Arizona and the Eagles with Jalen Hurts. That's a pretty appetizing matchup for fans.
Yep.
Chiefs Saints on Monday night. I would be down for that. It would hurt me for wrestling because I'd have to flip back and forth during Raw, but that's a game you can't miss. I was doing it last week with your Browns. Really good showing by both teams. You guys will be in it. You guys are the one team. You're pretty much going to be locked into that 5 seed, I think.
We got to win 2 of these last 3. Have to win. I would like it if we won all 3 because that means we weaken the Steelers. You know what I mean?
Don't worry. The Steelers are getting in, and they're getting knocked out as soon as they get in. I don't care who they're playing. They're not getting the 1 seed no more. They didn't let that slip. Kansas City's probably going to win out and get that 1 seed. Pittsburgh's going to play, realistically, Miami. I'm just throwing them out. So the possibilities are Vegas, New England, Miami, the Colts, or you guys, right? I think, honestly, New England would beat them at this point. That's how bad they've looked. If Garrett Gilbert can about beat them, I trust Belichick. You guys can beat them, which you'll see, which would be interesting if you played them week 17, then played them again after playing them already.
Yeah, that'd be tough. It's that thing we just talked about, right? That
especially back-to-back weeks. That never really happens. And then the Colts, they can beat them. They play them they play them next week. So that would be interesting because they'd play them twice in 3 weeks. A lot still to go, man. The only thing that we know is the Chiefs are locked in. I think Pittsburgh's locked in. Green Bay and New Orleans are actually clinched playoff spots. So everything else is still kind of up in the air as far as seeding. With that one team getting a bye, and COVID running rampant, we don't know if it could change in the next 2 weeks and they could add that 8th playoff team too, because that's still an option, they said. If we have to cancel some games, they might extend the season a week, and you could maybe see an 8th team get in, which would probably be the only way my Patriots get in.
The only thing that has me worried is that we have a COVID outbreak during AFC
Playoffs.
Championship or the Super Bowl. Like, how tainted would that be if one of the best? What if it happens to Kansas City? Because Kansas City's been pretty clean all year. What if Patrick Mahomes gets COVID?
Yep.
Like, you're not going to postpone the game because you haven't done it for anybody else.
Right.
So you're going to play it, and Kansas City's probably going to get knocked out, right? And then you've destroyed the whole playoff, the whole integrity of who the Super Bowl champ is for that year.
Just think you get the same. What if you get the matchup you want? Tampa Bay, Kansas City. That's what the NFL wants.
Oh, 100%.
Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, the rivalry that they're trying to make one, even though Brady's 3-1 against them. But whatever. That's the game you want. Star power. Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey, Chris Jones, Andy Reid. Bruce Arians got a crazy personality, but you have Tom Brady, Antonio Brown, Godwin, Evans, Gronk, Sue, Levante David. I mean, stars. That would be probably the highest rating game you're going to get, even though I think New Orleans would be a close second. It was Drew Brees, Patrick Mahomes, Mike Thomas, Tyreek Hill. I think that Marcus Lattimore versus Tyreek Hill, I think, would be a great matchup, which we're going to see this week. That should be interesting. Your boy from Ohio State, that's going to be the matchup of the game this week, I think. Can they contain Tyreek Hill on defense?
I agree.
And your boy had a rough week last week against, I think he got burnt by Alshon Jeffrey, who I thought was in a nursing home somewhere, but apparently he's on the loose. Well, this wraps up our show. Alex, thanks for having me. I appreciate Drew reaching out. Bakley's got Packers Chiefs. Homage to Super Bowl I. Bakley was around at that time, apparently. I don't remember Super Bowl I. I was negative like 38 years old at that point, or even older. But yeah, if I don't talk to you again, have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I'll talk to you over text and stuff, but on air, I won't see you again probably. Have a good Christmas, good health to the family, and appreciate you guys having me on again. I have to get on for like the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm down. I enjoy having you on anytime. I'm down to come on to the boardroom anytime you need me.
Listen,
I'm a little offended I haven't been on the Blitz yet.
Listen, Drew says you're on a tight schedule, so
yeah. I mean, listen, my schedule is pretty busy, but if you hit me up with enough advance, I'll make it.
Listen, man, my NBA season preview of the boardrooms next week. NBA season starts next Tuesday night. Just saying.
Come on, I'll be there.
I'm gonna tell you how my Cavs are winning the whole damn thing this Tuesday night. You're gonna want to miss it. MVP Colin Sexton.
You're not riding the Clippers train again this year.
I'm trying to be Skip Bayless. I got to get this bank account up. I'm gonna say outrageous things on air just like he does.
Hey, it's worked for him so far.
Yeah, dude's worth like $90 million. I saw the other day. It makes me sick. But yeah, dude. Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. But hopefully I'll talk to you next week and I'll just tell you this again, but whatever.
Yep.
Appreciate
Sounds
you.
Good, man. Yeah, everybody have a great week. Great episode. It was good having you on again, man. I missed going back and forth with you on air. It's been fun.
It's been a while.
Now
we just do it over text. It ain't the same.
Yep. Agreed.
All right. Remember the buzz at WTB.com. Manscaped, promo code GWD. Catch me on RSH tomorrow. We got AJ Strangerew from Working Fans podcast on to talk. We're going to predict TLC this Sunday. Between the Pipes Friday, Marital Nonsense Friday. That ends our week of shows for this week. I'm Josh. That's Alex. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be safe.